ladies, hi! Welcome back to part 2. So, before I get into the rest of the activities we did, I have a special insert to give you more insight on the planning that's from the actual planner.
So, I finally got the call up. Coach finally put me in. Okay, disclaimer, I do quite enjoy being an NPC on Tiffany's page, so this probably won't happen too often. But yeah, she did ask for my 2 cents in terms of the planning and the logistics of the trip, so yeah, I am. I think there's 2 main things that people have been asking. One, just about actually how to go about the planning, and then 2, in terms of budgeting and how to actually save money on the trip. Full disclosure, Tiffany and I are still learning the ropes of traveling and planning and so forth. So yeah, there are definitely people out there with a lot more insight, but here's our 2 cents nonetheless. Firstly, Tiffany 100% overhyped me in part 1 of this video. There wasn't too much work for me to do in terms of planning. Tiffany and I kind of have this unspoken system. She'd send me reels, lots and lots of reels. I'd kind of bring the balance because realistically we can't do everything, so we can see what's actually feasible and what we might need to maybe give a miss or do another time. So I'd do the checks on the actual details in terms of where the activity is, the costs, how long it takes and so forth. At the end of the day, it is a holiday, so you do want some downtime to just relax and not just tick things off of a list, you know. So as anyone would, we'd tail our trip to the things we'd personally enjoy most, and we'd have like a chat in terms of what activities we want to prioritize. Everything else, if we do it, we do it. If we don't, that's cool too. That's what works for us. Tiffany usually has the ideas, and then I'm happy to take it from there and bring it to life in terms of planning, budgeting and so forth. So I put together a flexible itinerary based off of everyone's input, just in terms of what's actually feasible, which activities will best grouped together in terms of time, location and so forth. But the emphasis was definitely on flexible because we didn't want to be bound by this list of things to do at the end of the day. We had this itinerary in an Excel spreadsheet. I know, but listen, it does the job. So we'd rather have it there for options and then give it a miss than waste the day not knowing what it is that we want to do. We can actually share that with you. Just slide into my girlfriend's DMs.
What the hell?
Ladies, gents, you can email me directly. No, I'm kidding. Pop Tiffany a DM or comment, and yeah, we'll be sure to get that to you. But on to how we got things rolling. I mean, yeah, there's really no reason to gatekeep such things. Listen, you can tell me what. This is the single hardest part of planning any trip. Getting the trip out of the group chat. I'm sure many of you can relate. We've come up with a system now that speeds things up. Essentially, we talk less and we just book. I think the key is to suss out who is actually most keen or most likely to join, and then just book. And then of course you can share the costs and the itinerary afterwards, because then it's actually tangible. It's not pie in the sky talks anymore. For those who are on the fence, it's a matter of, okay, I need to save X by date Y and then I'm in, rather than it's staying all pie in the sky. Otherwise, date Y comes around and the group chat is chup still. Not an hour. Once you've laid that foundation, it's really just about getting the group aligned. What really helped us was a travel agent. Just a note, a travel agent won't always be cheaper than booking independently. In our case, it was. In general, going through them is going to be less admin, but it also comes at almost the downside of it being less flexible. So we kind of struck a balance in the sense that we actually built our own package. We went into the travel agent's site and essentially we combined different packages. In Phuket, for example, we swapped our hotel for a resort in a place that we'd prefer, and the same in Bangkok. We actually swapped our hotels so that we have one in a neighborhood that we'd prefer. So in terms of flexibility, it wasn't really a problem for us. But yeah, the real benefit of the travel agent came from the fact that we were in a group. So when a new person confirmed, it was just a matter of adding them to an existing package. Even though we built the package ourselves, it meant less admin on the travel agent's part. And because we were in a group, that also gave us bargaining power in terms of what that additional person is going to cost. Because in general, obviously, as you get closer to the time, the packages tend to get more expensive, whereas with a big group and adding to an existing package, we had at least a bit of bargaining power to get those prices down. That really helped us. And then another hack in terms of saving money, budgeting and so forth, as Tiffany mentioned before in part 1, we knew the maximum costs of our activities before we went, but we didn't actually book it. So what we did do is we'd check like international travel sites for activities and travelers' reviews on them, and then we'd go directly to the Thai sites offering those very same activities, which means it was obviously a lot cheaper. We went direct to the source, but then we still didn't book it. What we did was we just made a note of it, but we went in with the plan of actually negotiating prices when we get there. So we cut out the middleman, and even though we didn't book our activities beforehand, we did know exactly where we could get it online if we couldn't find it cheaper in person. So there was a fallback plan, but fortunately it didn't come to that because we managed to get it much cheaper that side. And again, it helps to be in a big group because you have a lot more bargaining power. When negotiating, we obviously have an idea of what's considered a cheap or fair price at an individual level, but we'd negotiate in terms of the group. So we'd say like, listen, for all of us, let's do this amount. And more often than not, like they're down for it, or there's a bit of back and forth, but I mean, like it's a lot cheaper compared to the actual prices they advertise. So we'd actually go to the places and see on the boards like where we're getting our thing that we've already paid for, and it would be twice or 3 times as much. It really does help to negotiate from those little travel stalches in Bangla Road or nearby. As Tiffany mentioned, daily spend, you could probably use a base of about 1,000 Rand, but you could definitely get away with less than that. If you're just more mindful of your spending or maybe do a bit less activities, you could definitely get away with a lot less. Our package included buffet breakfast at both the resort in Phuket as well as the hotel in Bangkok. So hopefully that gives a bit more insight into the planning and budgeting aspect of the trip. And I'll hand you back over to my angel on the other side of the world.
Isn't he cute? Mommy. The next day, we decided we were gonna go to these 2 islands, well, an island and a beach that was kind of not one of the most popular ones, which I think was a really good idea in the end. So first we went to Coral Island. For this one, we actually got a speedboat for the day. So I think if you're in a big group, it was actually a lot more cost effective and efficient and stuff to have a speedboat. It was only us on the speedboat. We had that speedboat for the entire day, and then they would take us when we wanted, we could leave when we wanted, like everything was included like that, which was amazing because obviously it's just your group and you can do whatever you want together. They provided our snorkeling gear, which they told us before that actually sometimes come at an extra cost. We had the snorkeling gear on the speedboat with no extra cost. They had a cooler box if you want to bring any drinks, and they also provided some bottled water. And you could bring your own speaker, you know, for the vibes, to just keep the vibes going all day. And there was also like some fresh fruit that they cut up for us. So if you can get a private speedboat, 100% recommend. So we started with the snorkeling. They take you to Carmel Island first. It's a pretty like secluded place. There weren't a lot of boats or anything. Actually, when we got there, there were like no other boats. Some came at a later stage, but when you get there, they will stop. They'll give you the snorkeling gear. Then we got in the water and it was so nice. Like, we just jumped off the boat into the water and we swam for a bit. They actually gave us life vests because it's actually really hard to keep yourself up. But we had life vests and we were just all in the water together with our snorkeling gear. You could see under the water, go under. There were actually a lot of jellyfish around, so that's mostly what we saw under the water. Jellyfish were so big. It's crazy how big they are. Then at the end, like close to the end, when we all got back on the boat, there were these little fish that started coming and swimming up and things. Just spent as much time as we wanted to doing the snorkeling and swimming. And then when we were ready, they were like, okay, let's go to the next location. So after we done the snorkeling, we went to Banan Beach. It's like a private beach, but the water is so clear, it's so blue, it's so stunning. It's literally what you'd see like on a postcard. When we got there, they basically took us there, dropped us off, and they said, you can spend as much time here as you want, you just let us know when you want to leave. We spent most of our day there. You could just relax. There are restaurants available, so you could eat there as well. There weren't actually a lot of people because of it being a private beach, which was nice. So you wouldn't be surrounded by loads of people if you wanted to spend your time in the water and just enjoy yourself. And something really cool that we did, we went on a underwater sea walk. 4 of us did it, but it was so cool. They basically give you like this huge helmet. It's like an astronaut, and then you go underwater and you walking on the sea floor and you can see the coral reef and you can see the fish swimming around. They give you fish food so that the fish actually come eat like out of your hand. It was so cool. It was amazing. I literally could have stayed down there like the whole time. If you enjoy like the peace and calm, just want to spend some time like and chill and relax or play or whatever you want to do, I would 100% recommend going to this beach and including it on your trip. It was something that we all enjoyed and had the best time. And the speedboat was great. Something we did when we got back, we did as often as we could or whenever we wanted to, was that we got massages. There's so many spas or massage parlors that you can actually go to. So it's relatively cheap. I think it was around 150 Rand for like 1 hour Thai massage. But obviously if you go to like a more touristy area, it might be more expensive. We did different ones. So we got like the head spa, which is something that we were seeing on Instagram a lot, you know, like the whole treatment that they do for your head, for your scalp and everything. At the end they even dry your hair, blow it out, things like that. So that one was cool. We did an oil massage. Oh, that one was amazing. Love that one. Then there's the obviously traditional Thai massage, which when you're there, I suppose you're in Thailand, so you have to get it. But no oil, it's a dry massage. It's a lot of stretching, some wild stretching going on. So you have to kind of be prepared, because I think none of us were prepared when we went into it as to what was going to happen. So just be prepared if you do choose a Thai massage. Something that Beck and I did that we really enjoyed, we went jet skiing. We did it on Patong Beach, and even they like negotiated the price. It was so cool. It was very cool. Those things are so fast. It's kind of like the quad bikes where you don't know what to expect, you kind of just go. But those ones, insane. If you enjoy things that kind of like thrill, adrenaline, then I would recommend a jet ski. And at sunset, obviously, like the sun setting on the water was so beautiful while you're jet skiing and trying to figure out how this jet ski works, but you have a good time. And then we flew to Bangkok. In Bangkok, we stayed at the Night Hotel. It was also a really nice hotel actually. It had a rooftop pool area with a like restaurant near the pool, so you could also order near the pool and eat there. And it was also pretty central. It was close to the famous Terminal 21 mall, so I think most of our hotels that we chose were actually quite central in the city and to a lot of places we wanted to go to or we wanted to be. And the first night we decided we were gonna find some rooftop bar, so we went to a rooftop bar called Above 11. It's kind of like in a hotel at the back. It had a stunning view of the city. It's not really a place you could go for food. It's mostly drinks and appetizers, cocktails, mocktails, those kind of vibes, and then just see the city, have some music, so you can just enjoy yourself, just like spend time there. The next day, we decided we wanted to go see some temples. We chose to go to the Emerald Temple. It was stunning. It was so beautiful. There were a lot of the temple was in gold and in emerald, and the castle place was in white. It was beautiful. The one thing about it though is that when you come in, you must have a top to cover your shoulders and either long pants or a skirt, so like covering your legs, because in the temples in Phuket you kind of just needed a scarf or something, but here they didn't even want to let you wear a scarf. It had to be like a top or a cardigan, so that's important to note. And it's for the girls and the guys, so that's why you see the guys are basically all in these elephant pants. As you can see, there's no exceptions, and not even for Bruno Mars. That wears elephant pants also when he came to perform. So if you don't want those things, just wear a top or have a cardigan with you. After that, we did something we really wanted to do, which was go to the skywalk. So for this one, we bought the ticket that was for the skywalk on the rooftop and then for the sky ride. But just to know, we thought that the sky ride was like a ride on the rooftop, but it's actually a virtual reality game. So if you don't want to play the game, just beware of that. We don't know, but it was cool anyway. We did it and it was actually something we all enjoyed and it was pretty cool. We happened to go at sunset time, but that actually happened to be the best time to go. Like obviously because it takes you so high up. This building is the tallest building in Bangkok. I think it's like 314 meters high, and when we got to the top you can literally see all of the city. It was so beautiful. For the actual skywalk part, it was very cool. If you're afraid of heights, would not recommend, but we enjoyed it because it's obviously like this glass walkway that you have to go on, and you can see right down like into the city. And then we went to this rooftop bar that we really wanted to go to. We saw all over Instagram. It's called the Tichuca Rooftop Bar. So after the skywalk, our driver, who had been literally taking us around everywhere the whole day, we also get a driver for the whole day. It's a good idea. We went at around 10 p.m. because it closes at 1:30 a.m. the rooftop bar. But I think it was more than enough time. I think we actually spent a while there and we enjoyed our time there. So going at 10 p.m. was probably a good idea. It was super pretty. It was also a place where you could like oversee the city and all the lights at night, and it was gorgeous. It has this kind of structure over the bar area. It's like in the structure of a jellyfish, which is super cool because it lights up, and then at one point in the evening it like starts changing colors and the colors start moving and the jellyfish tentacles are moving, and everything was just so cool. And then they had pretty good music, so we're dancing and enjoying ourselves. And then when it came to 1:30 a.m. it ended. But when we were passing on our way up, we saw that there was a club below it. So we just went down to the club because we were like, you know what, we still want the night to go on. So we went down to the club on the floor below, and it was really cool. We spent the rest of our night there, and that closed at about 3 a.m. I think. That's what we did for the rest of the night. We totally enjoyed it though. Like we all had fun together. Like I'm not one for clubs, but I think with the right people, you can have a good time. So I think that's why I had a good time. And when we left, we actually, funny enough, we met like other South Africans. It was people that spoke to me before in the club, like they just passed by and said something nice. And then at the end they were like, oh, do you remember me? And I was like, oh yeah, I remember you. And then they were like, oh, where are you from? And I said, no, I'm from South Africa. And they were like, no way, so are we. I mean, how does that work out that like the people you happen to meet happen to be South African as well? It's mind-boggling. It's just crazy. But then the night got even wilder, and they ended up coming with us on our way back to the hotel. We had more South Africans and an Italian. Don't ask us about the Italian. It was probably not a good idea. Brett's sister was like, the driver was waiting for us, and she shouted, all South Africans get in the van. That was probably not the best thing to shout, but they ended up being really cool. They were all super nice and super friendly, and they made it a good time. So that was fun. And then the boys ended up actually like going with them to another club because there weren't a lot of places actually open after that. And what was crazy though is that when they went to this other club, they happened to meet the same champion boxer that they went to go watch in Phuket. And when they went to the other club restaurant, they ran into him there. Like how does that work? That's just crazy stuff. So the next day, we were all obviously pretty tired, but the girls still got up. The girls and women got up the next day. We went to Terminal 21, the mall. So what's cool about this mall is that it's called Terminal 21 because each floor is like a different destination or a different city. So when you go up the escalators, it will have a sign that says you've now arrived at Paris, you've now arrived in Istanbul, you've now arrived in Tokyo. And then each floor is kind of tailored to that city. So you'll have some walk-through areas that will look like the city, or certain products that will like correspond with that kind of style, I suppose. The one thing you need to check out is the bathrooms. Bathrooms really are more tailored to each city than the actual like floor itself. The bathrooms are like a must to go check out. Even if you don't need to go pee, like still go to the bathroom just to go look at it. Then in the afternoon, we had the same driver this day that we had the day before, and we went to this big market in Bangkok. It's like a big street market. He kind of spoke to the driver and said, we want to go to a market, and he was like, this is the biggest one, and then he took us there. It was so big. Like when you get to one end and you think that it's finished, you still have to go around. It was massive. There's a lot more clothes options than there was in Phuket. A lot more actual clothes that you want to wear on an everyday basis. But they also have souvenir stores and jewelry and bags. So I think this one had a lot more options, and you could spend a lot more time looking through things for things that you want and not kind of just like passing by to see what's going on. The very last day, we had some time during the day before we had to go to the airport because our flight was at 9 p.m. in the evening. So Beth and I decided we were gonna go to this other mall that we wanted to see that he told me about. It's called like the Siam Paragon or the Siam Mall. There's 3 of them next to each other. So it's like first mall with mostly food, second mall mostly luxury brands, third mall maybe more regular brand. What we also did was in the first mall at the bottom there's like an underwater, like a SeaWorld aquarium. I was so excited. I never been to an aquarium before. This was actually my my first aquarium date. It was very cool. That was like obviously in a mall and it was underneath, and obviously when you see the photos and things and they tell you like there's an underwater walkway. And when you go in at the beginning, it's kind of, they start with the little fish. We were like, are we being scammed? Is this a lie? Is this what the underwater thing is? But just know, if you continue walking, you'll get to the bigger fish. There were like sharks and there were stingrays, and it was just so cool. I really loved it. Because we bought a ticket that was to go to the aquarium and then after you go to Madame Tussaud's. So we went to Madame Tussaud's after with the wax figures, but we didn't spend as much time in this one as we did in Amsterdam because it was like we've been to the other one, we want to see more things, and there were a lot of people that we didn't know in this one, but it was still really cool. I mean, it is always cool, these kind of museums. And then when we left, it was getting late as well and we needed to get back to the hotel. So we actually ended up getting a scooter Uber. They can obviously go through the cars and they would get you there a lot faster. So we were risking it, but we made it out. We were alive. We were safe. We got there in the end. But that's the whole trip in a nutshell. So I hope I answered all your questions and that this helps for when you take your trip to Thailand. But it was the most fun trip and I'm so excited to go back. Like, I'm pretty sure we'll go back. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you next time for the next video. Peace out.